is true, Tom brought me here for his birthday this year, but when Tom was born, he was my birthday present. The year was 1985. I was turning 7. I was like, Mom and Dad, I want one of those Cabbage Patch dolls. And they were like, oh, I'm sorry, we can't afford a Cabbage Patch doll. But you know what we can afford is to feed and clothe and educate another entire human. And now that you're turning 7, you're old enough to be an unpaid babysitter. And I was like, yay, because kids are stupid. Oh man, it's the Late Show. Nothing tells you that you're getting old like the Late Show. Well, okay, nothing like the Late Show and working with 15-year-olds. I was working fast food between jobs a while ago, and I worked with this 15-year-old named Corbin with a K. And I'm not entirely sure what his job was, but as far as I can tell, it was to make me feel old. One day, this Metallica song comes on the radio, and he's like, oh, who is this? And we're like, it's Metallica. And he's like, oh, I didn't know they had any songs besides that one's in Stranger Things. Okay, I'm just gonna go walk directly into the ocean. But we were like, no, they were really big. And he's like, okay, well, sorry I don't listen to a lot of music from last century. I can feel myself withering. Thank you. And then Corbin taught me that I am too old to learn new slang. Because he told me something one day and he added no cap, and I was like, no cap. And he was like, yeah, dead ass? And I was like, dead ass. And he was like, yeah, no lie? And I was like, oh, totes McGroats. And he said, Ben, you are more cringe than tea in a coffee cup. And then he looked at me and I looked at him and we worked in silence for the next 2 hours. And it was the best 2 hours that I ever worked with Corbin. Oh man, it's still technically Pride Month. Is anybody else disappointed that Target scaled back their Pride collection this year? Because, like, I am not normally a huge fan of corporations selling my identity back to me. But they make these super cute cat toys. But they scaled it all back this year because they got a lot of backlash last year. And I think what Target just doesn't understand is that this is the same people that have been protesting Target since like the 90s for selling stuff that says Happy Holidays instead of Merry Christmas. But these people also don't understand seasonal merchandise. So every January when the Happy Holidays stuff goes on clearance, they're like, yay, we did it! We won the war on Christmas! And I will be the first one to tell you that if there was a war on Christmas, Target would be firmly on the side of Christmas. Yeah. Target is not going to stop until your credit card has stigmata. Target is not going to stop until your checkbook literally weeps red ink. For you younger people in our audience, a checkbook is a book with a bunch of little slips of paper in it that you fill out as slowly as possible at the Target checkout while 8 people are behind you. So yeah. And then these same people, the Pride stuff goes on, clearance in July so that they can put out the Happy Holidays stuff, and they're like, yay, we won the war on straights, yay, we can shop at Target again. So, but yeah, last year I found these super cute cat toys, and I was like, oh, my cats are allies. And so I brought the cat toys home and I gave them to my cats. And then I'm watching my cats play with them, and they're like, oh my God, these are fantastic. Check it out, I'm teabagging the trans one. And I was like, oh no. I don't think I taught my cats to be allies at all. I think my cats are getting some wrong ideas. Cats, man. If you have ever thought to yourself, I wish I had a literal box of shit in my house right now, a cat could be the pet for you. I bought my cat a cat tree. I didn't mean to. It's a ficus. He will not leave it alone. And so I'm over here like Googling, is ficus poisonous to cats? And it turns out that it is. So this is a problem that's going to solve itself. My cat's a monster, but he is very smart. During COVID, I decided it would be super fun to train my dog to ring a bell when she wanted to go outside to pee, right? Because then if I was busy on the interweb nets, the dog could ring the bell and I'd be like, sweet. So the problem with this is that my dog is stupid and my cat is an asshole. So the dog never did learn how to ring the bell, but the cat did. And he will ring the bell, but only at 2 o'clock in the morning. And then the dog's like, Ben, did you hear the bell? We're going out, we're going out, we're going out. So yeah, that's amazing. The life of a pet parent. So anyone here born and raised in Montana? I am a 5th generation Montanan myself. I did get priced out of Bozeman. I have moved to Wisconsin where I am adapting to my new cheese-based lifestyle. The hardest thing to get used to was that they use cheese to tell time, so they'll be like, hey, it's almost cheddar, you want to go grab some lunch? I met a pretty girl the other day and we were out till 1/2 Gouda, if you know what I mean. I do not. And then when it's daylight saving time, of course, you have to set your clock 2 slices forward. So, yeah. But I did come home to visit my parents, and my dad was like, so you've been in Wisconsin? Are you a Packers fan now? And I was like, what? No, why? And he was like, well, whenever you stand in front of my TV like that, something stupid comes out of your mouth. So I'm just trying to get ahead of it. Thanks, Dad. I am a trans guy. When I came out to my parents, my dad came around a lot faster than my mom because he quickly discovered that he could be like, oh, your mom could really use a strong man to help her carry in the groceries. And I'm like, I know a strong man. He does the same thing to my 7-year-old nephew, but it doesn't work so well on him because he's like, I don't want to be a strong man, Grandpa. I want to be a YouTuber. Oh, sweetie, when you grow up, you're going to be somebody else's Corbin with a K. One great thing about being a trans guy is that you get to decide what your junk looks like, right? You get to go online and be like, okay, all these selection boxes, circumcised or no? I think I'll take one of each. I'll have a nice little turtleneck in the winter and a slutty little tank top in the summer. All right, what's next? Skin tone. Cracker ass cracker. Size, large. Error. The selected size is not available in your skin tone. Possibly a vampire, and my ancestors lived far from the equator, may be purchased in small or extra small. And I'm like, oh. Do you think anyone would believe I got a super weird tan? Fine. Small. That's like a large. For crackers. It's great. I'm on testosterone. And if you don't know what testosterone does, what it does is it sucks everything out of your tits and brings it down to your crotch in a process that is known as your balls dropping. At least I absolutely hope this is what it does, or I'm gonna have to get a bunch of surgery and a bunch of tattoos that say "born this way." And then the other thing that testosterone does is it makes everyone super attractive. Because I'm getting the testosterone and I'm going through my teenage boy phase, and you know how teenage boys are. They're like, well, that's a rather fetching basket of laundry over there. I could put my dick in that. So, I'm hitting on everybody. I'm like, oh, you look like you do a lot of emotional labor that you don't get credit for. I'm not picky, I'm like, ladies, it's as big as you want it to be, and if you're not in the mood, you can always tell me to turn it around and go fuck myself. Fellas, I get a great deal of gender euphoria from being expected to plan and pay for all of our dates. Non-binary people, I am fluent in base 10, and I can get by in hexadecimal. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
My guy friends were particularly supportive when I came out as trans. They came over to my house, and they took away my bed frame. They were like, you can have that back when you're married. Then they took down the framed art from my walls and hung up some unframed movie posters. They were like, okay, Ben, I'm gonna need you to discover a band from 10 years ago and act like you're the first person that ever heard it. Then I'm gonna need you to get a wallet with a chain on it and a bottle of Axe. Because we're gonna teach you all the guy stuff, but you have to start at the beginning. So what you're looking at here is middle school Ben. And I'm really hoping that we move on pretty soon, partly because I'm tired of having to reach up and tap every doorway I walk through. But mostly it's because my girlfriend knows a whole lot more than me about a whole bunch of things, and I am super excited to mansplain them to her. My girlfriend is awesome. She is polyamorous. And so we're a long distance relationship, and she's like, don't you think it would be nice to have someone close by that you could actually physically touch? And I was like, that would be nice. And so I started looking, and I started going on dates. But these aren't like romantic dates so much as they're kinky dates. And I don't know if any of you are into kink, and you don't have to tell me. But those dates are a little different, because all you're looking for is enough of your stuff to overlap that you can both get off, right? Because if you're like, oh, I want to suck your toes, or, oh, will you spank me? That's pretty easy to find somebody that'll be like, yeah, okay. But if you are into more specific stuff, like if you just like it when someone jacks you off while making sounds like they're starting a lawnmower, that's harder to find. Especially if you're looking for accuracy. I said a 1968 DeWalt, Deborah. That's clearly a 72. Have you ever mowed a lawn? So, yeah. For example. So I did find this friend of mine, and we decided that we would try a date. We came together and we found enough common ground. We cut some things out. She agreed not to ask me to do anything involving a fursuit. And I agreed to, and I quote, "Shut the fuck up about lawnmowers, Ben." So we're going on our first date. So I went to the grocery store and bought a bunch of flowers. And she was like, "Oh my God, nobody's ever brought me flowers before. You're the nicest boy I ever met." And I'm like, "Oh, thank you all the people who dated you before for making it so easy for me. The bar is literally in hell. All I have to do is step over it. Enjoy those flowers. I think most of them are already dead." So we go to her house and things are going fantastic. By which I mean she did not throw me out of her house the first or the second time that I uttered the phrase, "friends with benefits." And I'm like, she might touch my pee-pee. And then her phone rang. And then she answered it. And it was her dad. And he wanted her to come over for dinner. And she was like, "No, Dad, I'm on a first date. I'm not coming over for dinner." And he's like, "Oh, please, honey, it's your brother's last night in town before he flies out back to California. I'd just really love to get the family together." And she says, You know what? Let me ask Ben. Ben, would you like to give up on our lovely and delightful first date and go over and have dinner with my dad and my family because my dad can't be arsed to ask me to do these things before the day of?" Now, in hindsight, there may have been some sarcasm in this question. But in the moment, what I said was, "I could eat." So we go over to her parents' house, and it's her dad and her stepmom and her brother. And her dad is so happy to have everybody there. He just keeps saying, "Oh, it's so nice to be here with my whole family and Ben." Oh, no. And I'm like, "Well, I mean, I was hoping to be losing my watch and your daughter by this point in the evening, but this is nice too." So we sit down for dinner, and her brother turns to her and goes, "So how was the furry convention?" Now, when I tell you that you could not waterboard this information out of me within 100 miles of my parents. Listen, my parents, my mother's hobbies are being Mormon and getting sucked into pyramid schemes. Oh shit, I said that one twice. Anyway, if you laugh at her, you're not gonna get to come on her planet, y'all. Yeah, but no, my date just starts answering her brother. "Oh, the furry convention was great. I saw Gray, he came to my room." It's super awkward because they're the only two people talking, and I was raised Mormon, and we were taught that we involve everyone in the conversation at the dinner table. And so I decided to do my part. I turned to her dad and stepmom and said, "So, what do you two like in the bedroom?" And her stepmom kind of blushed and said in this super cute Midwestern way, "Well, it's a little embarrassing, but I like to jack him off while I make lawnmower starting noises. But the only one I can do real well is a 1968 DeWalt." Hey, Bozeman, you guys have been fantastic. It's good to be back. I'm Ben. Let's get Tom back up here.